Okay guys, how you doing? This is Shi-Nu here. I'm going to give you a few tips on some music stuff. This was a request from Orwell Official, and I have a few requests like this. A lot of people want to know how to stay interested in music, but what I've found in my career of playing music for the last 36 years, a good way to do it is to always be moving forward. Don't get stuck in patterns, don't get stuck in boxes, don't get stuck practicing the same things all the time. Try to change what you're doing, and always be trying to move forward. Use songs that you're trying to play, not to copy them. That's what a lot of guys get into. They get into this thing where when you'll play a song on the internet, people will come on there and say, you're not playing the right chord, and you're not doing the right lead, and you're not doing the right thing. It's about you. Worry about trying to progress your playing. Use what you're learning from other people's techniques to improve yourself, not to copy them. You know, you don't want to be a carbon copy of someone else. You want to have people's styles to where when people listen to you, they say, oh, I can hear their influences. You know, you can hear Hendrix, you can hear Stevie Ray Vaughan, you can hear Joe Satriani, you can hear Steve Vai, things like that. But you want to have your own style. You want people to, when they hear you, go, oh, that's Doyle Bramhall. You know, that's, you know, you can hear in Doyle Bramhall's playing, you can hear Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Buddy Guy, you know, you can hear all them Eric Clapton guys, you know, but it also sounds like him. It's him, you know. So to continue progressing and getting new ideas for music, new ideas for songs, you have to study other people's styles, but not in a way that like you're trying to be them, because that'll just get you bogged down in somebody else's playing. A lot of guys do that. It matters that you know what they're doing and how they're doing it, what scale they're playing in, what chord progressions they're playing in, and then change those to something other than what you're learning so that you can learn something new. And like I say, take it little steps at a time. You know, if you're going to play something really difficult like For the Love of God by Steve Vai, just take it one section at a time. Learn little parts, and you'll slowly get better by using other people's techniques, and it'll just get you better dexterity in your fingers. Now, you also don't need high dollar equipment. A lot of people think you need high dollar equipment. When I moved to Japan, I had 27 guitars. I've sold a lot of them on eBay and here in Japan. So now I've got, I think I got a total of like 10 or 12 guitars now. And the ones I mainly play on is this one here, which is actually in Japan this would be a little over $5,000, but the retail on this guitar is $3,000 to $4,500. And this is a 1 of 60 Gretsch Cream de Mint Falcon, and this is the only one in Japan. Now I also play on a Fender Deluxe amp. I have a RC300. I have a whammy, Digitech whammy. I have a D4 line 6 delay pedal that has a looper in it as well. And for what I just played, I'm only using the amp and the guitar, but still you're looking at almost $6,000, you know, just for that. So I have a line 6 wireless guitar system on this guitar, and the thing is you don't need all of that to be good. You know, I also have a little 20-watt orange amp over there, and I've got an Ibanez Artcore, which is maybe $500. The amp is $100, so you know you can do the same thing I'm doing on stuff like that. That's the problem that a lot of guys get into as well. They think they can't have that sound that somebody else has unless they have all the equipment they have, which is very expensive. And what you just heard me play has there's nothing on it. I didn't use any foot pedals. All I used is the Fender Deluxe amp, which is a beautiful amp. It's about $600. Quite an expensive amp, but it's a very good investment. It's a very, very good amp, and has a lot of tones. You can play heavy metal on it. You can play rockabilly. You can play country, folk. I hook it up to my acoustic guitar, so you can play acoustic guitars through it as well. I play a cello. I have an electric cello that I can play through it, so I can record with the cello as well. It's an awesome amp, but you don't need it. But what you do need is to sit down and try to learn melodies, learn progressions, figure out scales. That's what I like to do. You'll see a lot of my videos where it looks like I'm not a very good guitar player, because I don't really put a lot of stuff on the internet that's like me playing amazingly and stuff like that. I just don't do that. But what I do is I grab unusual backing tracks, and I try to figure out what the scale is. I try to mess around with it and figure out patterns and figure out things so that I can progress in my playing. To where the reason why you want to do that is because you might go to some live house like I do in Japan, and you might walk into some live house and I pull this out and people automatically think you know how to play, and they ask you to come sit in with them on stage. Well, I don't even need them to tell me what scale they're playing in. All they have to do is start playing, and I can really easily figure out what they're doing from that. And that's why you're able to do that, is because you practice like this. So how I would say the best way to get out of plateaus and a lot of guys will get to a certain point in their playing and it just drops off and they just stop playing, they stop writing music, they stop being innovative, they stop having really the will to play. What I would say is just find some backing track that you find to be something that you might want to play to, and just look around for backing tracks, because some of the stuff that you're going to want to have when you play is a very good internal monitor. You need to know need to have an internal click track, and the cool thing about that is if you practice with these backing tracks, you get that kind of where you're on the beat. You know, you want to have a good internal meter so that when you sit down with people, you can play with them and you can follow along with what they're playing. And it helps when you play a lot of different styles as well, you know, even other instruments. That sometimes gets me out of plateaus if I get into a place where I'm practicing all the time. I have a banjo, I have a cello, you know, I had a saxophone but I just sold it on eBay not too long ago, but I have other instruments that I sit down and I play with. I have a piano, you know. So if I start getting into the thing where I feel like I'm plateauing, I'll work for a week or so on another instrument, and then I'll come back to it with new eyes. And it's kind of funny. I'll play on other instruments, and I'll bring that sound back to the instrument that I'm playing with, which is my main instrument, which is guitar. You'll end up coming back at things with new eyes and new sounds, and try to not fall into a pattern. What a lot of guys end up doing is they get stuck practicing a scale that they like, and they start playing that scale over and over and over, and every time they pick up the guitar, that's the first thing they do, is play that scale, you know. And what you need to do is never really practice the same thing over and over again. Come back at it with new eyes. And if you're going to practice things, practice like 3 notes per string kind of licks, you know. And I've talked about it before. Like, if a lot of guys want to know how to get faster, if you want to get faster, one of the best things you can do is start at the first string and just work your way down and then back up, and practice that until you get sick, you know, basically. And you just want to get to where you can move your fingers quite fast. You know, and then after you get to where you can play that fast, go up and then slide up 1. You know, like that. And then basically just keep working your way up and get it to where you can, you know, I mean, you really want to play at each note. I'm playing kind of messily, but you want to play each note to where, and work on going up, down, up, down, up, down. You know, you want to always go up and down. So work on going up and down, and that'll get you faster, you know, which will allow you to playing things that you find enjoyable. Mainly what a lot of guys end up doing is they get stuck at playing the same songs, singing the same songs, doing the same things all the time. And obviously, just like a marriage or anything else, it's going to eventually get boring. And when it gets boring, that's when you're going to start losing motivation to try to play more. What you need to do is start doing something different and not get caught up playing things that you don't like. You know, you need to constantly be striving to move forward in your playing. And the way you do that is like what I like to do. When I decide I'm going to start playing, I'll sometimes run through some scales just to get my fingers, you know, playing and stretched out, you know, and stuff like that, and to get my hand kind of syncopated with my fingers, you know. And then it's kind of like before you go on a run, you know, you go stretch. So it's kind of the same thing, you know, you have some patterns that you work through or something that you play a little bit. And once you've done that, then I get on YouTube, I grab a backing track, and I just grab a random backing track. I don't care what scale it's in, what chord progression it is or anything, and I just sit down and I play. And I can do that for hours. You know, that's what's nice, is each time some song comes on, you can turn on one and it'll go to a new one, and then a new one, and then a new one, and it'll keep doing that. So if you can have that happen, it kind of gets you back into wanting to play again. You'll start hearing new things. You'll start branching out, finding new chords, finding new scales, finding new little melodies, medleys that you like, ways of running through the strings, you know, 4-note per string, 3-note per string, 5-note per string, things like that. You'll figure out ways to play that you can use in your playing when you get on stage, and that'll actually help you when you play live and when you play with other people and you start playing. People will be like, wow, he's really good. And to keep that progression going and not getting into a plateau or getting to a point where you're just sick of playing guitar, which I never do. I very rarely get sick of playing guitar. I've been playing guitar for 36 years. So I never really get sick of it. Sometimes I get tired of playing the same thing, you know, and if I get tired of playing the same thing, then I just stop playing that thing. I don't do it anymore. I forget about what I was playing, and I might forget about it for 6 months. You know, I just don't ever play it. That's the best way to do it. And then when you come back to it, you'll have forgotten a little bit about how to play it, and you can come at it with new eyes and maybe find something new because you've been practicing other things. And maybe you can come at it from a different view, you know, where it might be a song that you've played for a long time, you know. Now, the song that I played at the beginning of this is Lenny by Stevie Ray Vaughan. I've been playing that song since 1990. That was when I learned that song. And I've played it somewhat the same, but I change it a lot. And what helped me a lot is by getting my RC 50 first, and now my RC 300. And by getting those, I was able to play the chord progression, and then start playing guitar over the top of it, and finding the scales and finding all the leads and the melodies and things that go with it and stuff like that. And if you don't want to get stuck playing a song in a box, because I learned the song, I believe I found it on Guitar World, I believe. And when I got stuck in the box for a while playing the song the way it was wrote on the tablature that came off of Guitar World, I got stuck in that box for about 10 years, and that's something that I'll tell a lot of you guys. If you don't want to get stuck in a box, you want to learn the notes, learn the progression, but don't learn it note for note. There's no reason for you to play a song note for note, you know, because that's, you know, if somebody wants to hear somebody play that, they can grab a CD and listen to them. You should come at it from a new angle, because what makes a song popular, especially on YouTube or something like that, you know, if you're trying to do that, what makes it popular and what makes somebody want to listen to your stuff is when you play a song that everybody knows, but you play it in a completely new way that makes it sound as good or better than the original. And things don't sound as good or better than the original if you play it exactly like the original was. Nobody wants to hear that, because there's like 100 people on the internet doing that, you know, like For the Love of God. There's millions of people on the internet that have played for the love of God. So if you sit down and you want to play for the love of God, and you turn on YouTube and you find 10 videos, everybody's going to sound exactly the same. And after about 10 videos, you go, oh, that's kind of boring. Now what? And that's the thing. But when you see somebody new, like you're searching through those and you find some guy that played for the love of God on a cello, or he played for the love of God on a piano, or he played for the love of God on a slide guitar or a dobro, or a saxophone or something like that. That's when you kind of look at it and go, wow, that's cool. Well, that's the reason why it's cool, because it's not exactly like the same shit that the guy played in the first place. You want to use your brain, and to show your musicality, that's what you're doing. You're gonna come at it from a different way. The way I play Stevie Ray Vaughan's song is kind of an homage to what he does, but I don't want to play it exactly like he did. Partly because of respect. I respect him as a musician, and I think he's an amazing musician. And I know that no matter how long I've been playing, I can't play like him. That's in your fingers. A lot of the styles and the techniques and stuff are in your hands. So you need to develop your own style and your own technique. You're never going to, even if you get the same exact equipment, you're never going to sound like certain people. That's from their hands, and you just don't have their hands, so you can't sound like that. So you gotta practice in a way that's going to allow you to move forward. And the way you want to do that is by learning somebody's music and then taking it to a new level, changing the scale progression, changing, like, say you take a Jimi Hendrix song that you really like All Along the Watchtower, or If 6 Was 9, something like that, and you revamp it and you put it into a scale progression of Django Reinhardt, put it in like a D minor progression or something like that, and you change it, and then you have to think, maybe you learned the song so you know the chords and you know the progression, but now you're going to transpose it into a chord progression and a scale that is a jazz scale, which changes everything up, changes everything. And then you have to learn the scale for the song and the melody in the song, and a lot of the notes that you're going to hit are going to be minor notes and stuff like that. So you'll be playing the same song, but you'll be able to find a way to play it in a new way. And by doing that, that will help you progress, and it'll give you a new idea and a new perspective on how you should come about a music, a song that you want to learn, to where you're not just like, well, I want to play it note for note. If you want to play it note for note, I'm sorry, but that's not a musician. You're not a musician, you're just a player. It's like going down to a volleyball net and having, some people playing volleyball, and then somebody comes in that's a professional sand beach volleyball player, and they just stomp everybody and nobody can keep up with them. Well, that's the difference between a player and a musician. So if you want to be a musician, that takes a lot of work, a lot of practice, and constantly playing and constantly working. But if you don't even have that time, a lot of people as they get older don't have that time to sit down and play like I did when I was a kid for 16 hours. So what you will do is use your time wisely. If you only have an hour to sit down and play, then sit down and play to backing tracks. And in an hour, you could listen to 30 backing tracks and just put a backing track on and just play to it, and even put on backing tracks for songs that you like, like For the Love of God, or I've done a couple videos on YouTube where I did backing tracks that were from For the Love of God, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Pink Floyd, things like that. I've done videos for people I've done videos with backing tracks from those songs, but unless you know what that song is, you won't be able to tell, because I don't really play the song. I just kind of fuck with the scale and dick around with it, try to find chords, try to branch out, try to find melodies, things like that in the song, and I'm not actually playing the notes for the song. Now I'm working on right now I'm working on revamping For the Love of God, and I'm actually going to do it on this guitar. So I'm not going to be doing it on my other Steve Vai guitar that has a sustainer in it. And I want to try to make the song, I want to play the song so that it's true to the song, but I'm going to only use this guitar, maybe my DL4, and my amp, and that's it. You know, now granted, that's, you know, about $8,500 worth of equipment, but I'm not going to play it exact like Steve Vai, mainly because you can't. I mean, I can whammy back on this, but I want it to have more of kind of like a jazzy rockabilly tone, you know, kind of thing. So I'm going to try to play it in a way where it has that sound, and I'm going to play the notes, but not quite exactly as the song is being played. And I'm gonna see about putting it on the net and having it sound like really cool. We'll see what happens, you know. But yeah, but that's the thing. You should have goals. You know, that's what a lot of guys end up doing. They just learn how to play somebody's song, and then they want to learn how to play it note for note, and they want to learn it. They want to make it sound like that. But they start to realize they can't get their amp and their equipment to sound like that, and they can't play that way. They can't play that fast. They can't play that they don't have that much talent to play as proficiently as those people, and that gets them kind of depressed. So they end up not playing, and they end up losing the will to practice and to play, and it kind of becomes a depressing thing when you pick up the guitar and you start to think like, I'm not as good as I would like to be. You know, the way to get out of that is just, first of all, don't learn how to play people's songs note for note. You know, that's not something you should try to do. And don't learn how to play somebody's song exactly like they play it. You know, if you're one of those people, then you're one of those people, but I'm not, and that's not musical. To play a song to where if somebody closed their eyes, they think they're listening to that person is a skill, but it's no different than listening to people. Simon Cowell talks about it all the time on The Voice and things like this. When people come up, they sound like they're singing karaoke, you know, where they sound like they're singing note for note and trying to basically sound like the original person that sung the song. They don't have their own style. They're singing like they're singing karaoke in a karaoke bar, and they're trying to make their voice sound exactly like the original singer, you know, which means you can sing, but you don't really have any talent, because talent comes from being musical, you know, and you're not musical if you can sound exactly like somebody else. That's a talent, but it's not the talent that musicians and people like Simon Cowell are looking for. You know, they're looking for people that are actually good. And how you're actually good is if you can use your voice, use your instrument like an instrument. And the way you do that is you have to understand the mechanics of what you're doing. And the way you do that is by taking something that you want to play and playing it in a new way. And that's what gets people to pique their interest and listen to what you're playing, and not just go, it's just another person playing the same old song. So that would be my advice to anybody that wants to get out of a box, get out of a plateau, and learn something new and try to get back into writing music again. You're going to be able to do that by, like I say, the way you end up writing music is you'll play somebody else's stuff, come at it from a new angle, in a new scale, and by doing that, you'll find a new progression, a new way of playing it. Maybe you'll use the picking pattern differently, and by doing that, it'll also give you some new ideas in that scale to play your own songs. And you might, what happens to me all the time, and most guitar players, is when you play some chords and you're strumming a chord pattern and you go, oh, that sounds like this, and then you'll start playing that song, and in most cases it's not the original scale progression and it's not the original thing, but the pattern that you're playing makes you think of that. And when that happens, that will also happen for other people. So if you play it in that scale and you learn the notes and stuff like that, don't worry about what is the original scale, what is the original thing. Don't worry about that. Learn how you think it sounds, because that's what's going to matter. How does it sound to you? And once you've learned how to play it, then go out and make a video of it, go out and play it on the stage or something like that, play it in front of your friends, whatever, and you'll get people that are impressed with your playing, because they can hear you. You're taking another look at an original piece of music, and because you came at it from a different angle, people will still know what it is, just like you did when you played those chords. But you'll be coming at it from a new angle, and everybody will see that you actually had to sit down and write that. And they might even ask you, did you write that? And you'll be like, well, I transposed it to a new scale and I changed a few things. And that's when people start realizing you're a musician. That's the difference between a player and a musician. So that would be my advice to you guys if you want to get out of that box. It's always, no matter how long I've been playing, it's always about learning. You're always trying to go forward in your playing, and the way you get stuck in boxes is by playing the same thing over and over again and not getting out of that box. So if you want to get out of that box, you got to treat the instrument like a way to move forward. Like something. Every time you play on your guitar, you're trying to learn something. You're not getting patterns, you're not playing the same thing. A lot of musicians and a lot of teachers will tell you, play the same thing. Practice this little box and just play this little box over and over again, and you'll get you'll get your fingers to know what you're doing on the guitar, but it also gets you stuck. And if you want to not get stuck, you need to not do that. It's about being musical, and to be musical, it's not about patterns. It's about playing in a musical style. That's what I would want you guys to learn. Guys, I'll be doing some more videos here pretty soon on feminism and stuff like that, and I'm going to actually be doing some more music videos. I'm trying to change up my channel a little bit. I was doing roundtables, the MGTOW roundtables, and the problem that I had is I did a live stream of Cowspiracy, and they gave me a strike on my channel. So I can't actually live stream through YouTube anymore, and I can't live stream through Google. So, but what I can do is I have my broadcaster, so I can actually record screen capture my computer screen, so I can get on a Google Hangout. I can talk with everybody. I can record it, and then I can put that's a saved file in my computer, and I can actually upload that to YouTube. So I'll be doing that instead. So thanks for watching. If you guys got any questions, comments, whatever, leave them in the section below. Share this video, like it, whatever. And thanks for watching.